Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a Sombra Radio. Este es su espacio donde hablamos de, pues ya saben, todo lo que conlleva la escena oscura alternativa. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí en otra emisión más. Good evening, listeners of Sombra Radio. Today we have the honor of welcoming a true pioneer of electro industrial music with a career spanning nearly 4 decades. It's amazing. His project Suicide Commando has become synonymous with dark, intense, and powerful electronic sounds. Please welcome Johan Van Roy to this space. Welcome, how are you?
Hey, I'm fine, and welcome to all listeners. So, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you for joining us. Really, it's a pleasure to have you here. How does it feel to be returning to Mexico City for your coming show at Foro Alicia on May 24?
I'm really looking forward to it because I always love to play in Mexico, and it's not so easy to play there often. So it's been a few years now. So I'm always looking forward to return to Mexico because I think it's a very good country for this kind of music, because you also have these great bands like Hochiko and Selector and Dushia. So I think Mexican people really like this kind of electronic music. So for us, it's always a pleasure to come back. So.
And about all of that, your music often delves into dark and intense themes. So what continues to inspire you to explore these aspects in your work for a performance, in this case in Foro Alicia, for example?
What inspires me to write this kind of music, or basically anything. So you just have to switch on the television and watch the news, or switch on the radio and you hear about all the terrible things going on in the world. So it's for me, it's an endless inspiration to write things about. So basically you can find anything on the internet or on radio or television. And somehow I've always been fascinated by the darker side of things. So
Okay, in past interviews, you mentioned in some cases that creating music has been a form of therapy for you in some aspects in your life. So how has these therapeutic aspects influenced your recent compositions, for example, in your most recent works?
My recent works have been, I think, pretty dark actually. So I've also been through some rough times in the last years, and so for me it was just my way of getting rid of all my negative feelings and thoughts. So basically that's how I write my music. So
it's an amazing job, really an amazing job, and you rework some of your early tracks with modern productions techniques. No, what motivates you to revisit and update your previous works?
Because I've been making music for that long time. Of course, the technical possibilities changed a lot over the years. So when I started doing music back in the late 80s, the things you can do today were not possible with the equipment I had at that time. So when the main reason for re-recording or making new versions from older songs is because of the technology. So I can. It's the way of how I remade those songs is how Suicide Commando would sound back then with the current technical possibilities. So yeah.
And how was the reaction of the fans?
I think very, very positive. So yeah, you should ask the fans. I don't know, but yeah, I think most people liked it. Of course, there are always people who prefer the more minimal and minimal approach of my very early works, because it was not so complex and very limited. And of course, you still have people who prefer that sound over the more modern and more complex things I'm doing these days. But I think that's just a minority. And for me, I think most people liked the way I made the new versions of those old songs.
And there are new projects or directions you're excited to explore with Suicide Commando, or you prefer to stay in your mode?
I prefer to stay in the mode I'm in, because I know what I can and I know what I can't, and I think I'm pretty good at what I'm doing. So for me, it doesn't make sense to try something else that maybe I'm not good at. I don't know. So for me, I like the things that I'm doing. So for me, there's a lot to do with passion. So it's the kind of music that I like, and it's the kind of music that I want to make. So I don't think you will ever have to expect something completely different from Suicide Commando, because it's just the music that I love and will always love. So and I also know my limitations, and so why change? Why change? Yeah.
Okay. Over the years, the industrial scene has changed a lot, really a lot. And how do you feel about the current state of the genre? And where do you see it heading in that case?
Yeah, it did change a lot, and I think it's mainly because of the technical possibilities you have these days, because you don't have to be rich anymore to start making music. You just buy yourself a computer and a good audio system, and you can start creating your own music. And for me, that's the biggest difference, because when I started making electronic music, it was, yeah, the possibilities were very limited, and it was really expensive to buy musical gear. So it also took me much longer to get all the equipment I have today. That's for me the biggest change in the last years, because and I think it's a good change, because now you have a lot more bands making music. But on the other hand, it also can be dangerous, because sometimes quantity is not the same as quality, because you get so many bands these days that are, in my opinion, just trying to sound like some other bands, and that can be dangerous. Of course, for me, it was also kind of the same in the beginning when I started making music. Bands like Clinic or Front 242 were my big influences, and of course, it's normal that when you start making music that you try to sound like someone before.
Yeah.
But of course, I think it's even more important that you once you have that basic, that you start to try to create your own sound.
Okay.
And that's what I miss a bit in some of the newer bands, because many of them, to me, sound like a copycat and just sound like this or that band, and that is something that's I regret a little, but well.
And when you go to and when you go to another country and see this culture shock in music, how was your first experience with that culture shock with another pioneers of industrial music in other countries?
It's a difficult question, but I like meeting other bands. I also like meeting other cultures, and it's true that it's a bit, for example, going to Mexico for me is interesting because the culture is different there, and also the music is different there, because I think in Mexico the people are not so spoiled as, for example, in Germany, where you have these kinds of concerts every day. So in Germany you can go and watch this or that band every day, and people get a bit spoiled in the end. And I think that's a good thing about Mexico, that you probably don't get to see these bands every day or every week. So for them it's still a bit special, and I like that. So for me it's always nice to go to places or countries that we don't play so often, or where we haven't played before. So like beginning of this year we did some shows in countries like Estonia or Latvia, which are very small countries near to Russia, and it was the first time that we played there, and it was really great experience, because you meet new people, new audience, and that's what I like.
And the advantage that you have is that your music has reached fans all over the world. And what you feel about that when you come, for example, in this case in Mexico, and you see the people it's enjoying your music, and that you don't imagine the effect that you create in the people, huh?
Yeah, I do know, but maybe I'm a little, I don't know, too modest about it, and how should I say? But I'm aware that me and my music have been an influence or inspired a lot of people in other countries, and it's, for me, it's a pleasure to see these people and meet these people. I remember, for example, the first time we played in Mexico City. I think I had to give 1 or 2 hours autographs and pictures
Yeah.
to fans. It was more exhausting than the show itself. So it was really crazy. But of course I like it, and I'm honored that people admire my music. So for me it's always a pleasure to meet these people and try to give something back to them because of their support, and
And how was the receive your how was the receivement for the Mexican people about your most recent tracks, for example? For example, in the case of Got the Structure.
Overall it was very good. So the countries we've been through afterwards, and the places we played, I think most people enjoyed the latest album, and I didn't hear any complaints, but maybe there are. I don't know, but yeah, I think it went really well, and also the album went into the official album charts in Germany, and it reached position 9, I think. Yes, so
Okay.
which was really amazing. So yeah.
And for fans attending the upcoming show, what can they expect from your performance?
Probably a little chaos as usual because either some things go wrong or yeah, I don't know. But in a way, I like it. Sometimes I like, in a way, you can compare Suicide Commando with not with the punk music, but with the punk attitude.
Okay.
So it can become a little chaotic sometimes, things going wrong, or mosh pit, or me going into the crowd or whatever. But I like this way. I like to create a certain bond with the audience. I just don't want to stand there on the stage and sing my songs, blah, blah, blah. I like the contact with the people, and if you feel and see the people that like your music and your songs, you even can give more, and I like the audience actually to be part of the show in some way. So I just don't want to be a band standing on the stage and doing their thing. And there's a difference between the stage and the audience. I like things when things become one. And in the past, but of course it's not always possible, but quite often I try to get the audience even on stage during the last song or whatever, and sometimes it brings really special moments and really fun time to be able to live the moment together with the crowd.
And what's the most special moment that you remember in one show in Latin America, for example?
I have to think, but yeah, it's hard to say. But like I said, I'm not sure if it happened in Latin America, but I do know that we did quite a few shows in the last years where people end up on stage, and or where I end up in the crowd and join the mosh pit or whatever. So yeah, those are for me the fun things. That's the things I really remember. Of course, sometimes things go wrong.
Okay, Johan, what's the most important thing that you consider that played or were in the stage for introduce you with the fans in one stage?
Yeah, for me, fashion is not so important, but for me, the music still remains the most important thing, and trying to connect that with the audience is for me the most important. That they feel the music, that they feel the lyrics.
Okay.
That's for me the most important thing. I know Ultrasound, I like them, but I think what they're doing is more danceable, and it's more for dancing and for dance floor music.
All right. Yeah.
And so I can see what they mean, but for me, most important is the message that you can bring to the audience, not really by how I look on stage or what I'm wearing, but more with my music, with my lyrics, and also with the videos we use during our live shows. So that I also like people to dance, of course, but I also try to make them aware of some issues that are going wrong in the world or whatever. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The message, the most important thing that you consider with introduce you with the fans is the message that your music have to want
Yes.
to.
So for me, that's
Okay. Okay, it's interesting because most of the projects that we, for example, here in Mexico, they don't have not all of them, obviously, but some bands don't give a message. It's only lyrics and that's all, no, or sound, and that's all. But your music is a message. It's a punch with with all the people, no? And what message you would like to give to your fans with your music? For example, here in Mexico, in the case of Mexico, because here we love your music.
I know that my message and my lyrics won't change the world, but what I like is that with my message that people at least think about some issues like suicide or child abuse or war or religion, so that they at least can think about it for a moment, be aware of things going wrong in the world, and give it a place and not just close their eyes for everything around you. So I know that my lyrics won't change the world because it's just my music, but at least I like to give them this message, and even if it's only for a few seconds or a few minutes, that they think about this and maybe think from, oh yeah, I'm not the only one with this problem, or I'm not alone with this problem, or oh yes, I agree, or I don't agree with what he's singing, but at least that they are aware of so many things in the world going wrong, and just for example, there's so many wars or things like suicide, so many people committing suicide. I know, for example, that I get a lot of reactions from people who thank me because they were in a very difficult time in their lives and they were considering to commit suicide, and my music helped them to not do it and move on, and that gives me a lot of strength and a lot of power, and gives me strength to continue and try to give a message in my music. Of course, not all songs. Some lyrics are just fantasized and whatever, but I think most of my songs have a message for everyone, and you don't have to agree with it. That's not the most important, but at least I would like people to think about it.
Wow, what a pretty message! Really, a pretty message. Thank you. For sure. How was or how is the process that you do when you connect with one lyric, with one letter, with one sound? How is that process?
Yeah, it's a strange process because usually I just start with writing the music.
Okay.
But during the process of writing a new song, it sort of brings me into a direction of what I want to sing about in that song. And once I have this atmosphere and this direction, I start to find lyrics, or maybe first search for some samples that connect to the atmosphere.
Okay.
And that's usually how I work. So in the beginning, it's just a really natural process of I just get behind my computer, my equipment, and I start creating something, a sequence or drum line or whatever, and it all starts from there. And usually my lyrics only come at the very end. And yeah.
And what the most important song that you consider in your work?
Yeah, probably the most personal ones, like "Until We Die" was a song I wrote after my dad died, almost 20 years ago now. Or a song like "Love Breeds Suicide," which is of course about suicide. I also have quite a few songs about religion that I think are pretty important for me, because I was raised very religious in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when I was a teenager, I found out that religion can be so many bad things, and so for me it was a kind of way to react to being religious, because nowadays I'm not religious anymore, because I think, well, everybody should make their own decision, but I don't think there's any God or whatever. But yet songs that I wrote about that, like "Goddess in the Rain," for example, for me they are very important. Yes. So I think the most important songs for me are the ones that have a personal opinion.
Okay, Johan, we're running out of time, but to finish this interview,
Yes.
I would like to ask you what message do you want to send for the people that want to start in the music, in the industrial music?
The advice that I always like to give is try to be yourself. Try to be unique, and give it time, because I know it's very easy these days to write music. You just buy yourself a computer and a music software, and the next day you can have your first song ready, as a matter of speech. But I think it's important that you give it time, that you can create your own style, that you can be unique and be different from the rest. That's for me the biggest advice that I can give to people that want to start this kind of music.
Okay, thank you so much, Johan, for sharing your time and trust
My
with all.
pleasure.
It's been a real pleasure having you here on Sombra Radio, this space that calls in Sombra Sonora. We can't wait to experience your powerful live performance in Foro Alicia.
Thank you.
Any one thing that you want to to want to add in this interview?
Yes, I would like to thank all your listeners, and I hope many of you will come to the show, and I hope you will have a good time together with us. And yeah, like I always say, support your scene. It's very important, and because without my fans, without the crowd, I would be nothing. So I'm very thankful, and I would be very thankful if many people would come to the concerts and have a good time. And yeah, maybe we can have a beer together after the show or whatever. And
Your shows are amazing, really amazing. You are amazing. Thank you to all our listeners. Don't miss it. Don't miss the show at Foro Alicia in May 24. See you there with Johan, with Sombra Sonora. Thank you again, Johan. Really, thank you.
My pleasure, really. Thank you very much.